If you want to pump your body and expand your mind, there's only one place to go. Mind Pump. Mind Pump with your hosts, Sal DiStefano, Adam Schaefer, and Justin Andrews.
Hey, it's Mind Pump. Look, for the first 40 minutes, we do our introductory conversation. Here's what we talked about. Adam talked about weaning himself off of caffeine, and I gave my protocol.
He's a wiener.
That's right. We do a macro comparison of plain almonds versus the chocolate-dipped delicious skinny-dipped almond. Oh, by the way, they have a store locator on their website, and they are one of our sponsors. If you go to skinnydipped.com/mindpump and enter the code mindpump, you'll get 20% off. Then we talked about Vuori's new bank shorts and cruise board shorts. One pair of shorts is made with 25 plastic bottles recycled into these amazing shorts. And of course, they have lots of other clothing that we think is amazing and awesome. They are one of our sponsors. If you go to Vuori Clothing, VUORI clothing.com/mindpump and use the code listed on their page, you'll get 25% off. I bring up a new study on sunscreen showing that some of the chemicals are reaching unsafe levels in people and how some states have banned sunscreens because it's killing the coral reef, I think.
I immediately got sunburned.
Then I talked about a new sex act, figging. Justin explains what he likes to do on his own.
Yeah.
We talk about ecosexuals. Denver, by the time this airs, they may have decriminalized psilocybin mushrooms. That's going to be crazy.
Wow.
Justin brings up his son's party entrance. What a cool kid. There's a new XFL deal with Fox. They're trying to compete with the NFL. And then I talk about the new wellness division that's being introduced in the IFBB and NPC. Again, this is presenting your physique on stage, apparently to display wellness. It's kind of weird. Then we get into the fitness part of this episode. The first question was, are explosive reps or slower tempo reps better for hypertrophy? Hypertrophy meaning muscle growth. So you want to build muscle. Should you lift explosively or controlled? The next question was, for somebody who's been counting macros and tracking their food for a very, very long time, what are some recommendations and advice we have to help them transition to a more intuitive eating lifestyle? It can be quite stressful always counting macros. So we give our advice in that part of this episode. The next question, this person just had a baby. They're only sleeping like 6 hours a night and they're waking up every 2 or 3 hours. How should they work out and how should they structure their nutrition? And the final question, this person wants to know how we balance our lives with our most challenging challenges. In other words, what do we find most difficult to balance in each of our lives? Also, this month, get ready for summer. MAPS HIT is 50% off.
I'm ready.
HIT stands for High Intensity Interval Training. This is the best fat-burning MAPS program we have in a short period of time. It's half off. Here's what you do. Go to mapshit.com, MAPSHIIT.com, and use the code HIT50, HIIT50, no space, for that discount. And if you want to check out our other MAPS programs, go to mapsfitnessproducts.com. Also, we may have some spots available for our live event in Encinitas on the 10th of this month.
There's like 2 left, Sal.
There might be 2 or 3 tickets left. Go to mindpumplive.com. See if you can still get a ticket. Come say hi to us. Give Adam a hug. Yeah. Give Justin
we'll reciprocate.
A little pinch in the butt cheek.
Ooh.
What's the matter, Adam? You cutting your caffeine now? Are you really?
I think
you're not going to do it.
Well, I think I'm due just because I noticed.
Justin's a naysayer. He doesn't want anybody to.
Only because I can't. I don't want you going up while I'm going down.
Whoa. Sometimes.
Wait a minute, dude. Hey, listen. I know where you're going with it. That's not where I'm going. That's not where I'm going.
No, really. Are you cutting it down?
Well, I can't say that since I was just noticing that I had a lot today and I don't feel like I had any.
How much did you have?
Let's see here. Let me do the math here. 200, 300, 400, 500. I've had about 500 milligrams, I would say. That's not crazy for me.
You. That's for you. Your high for you is what, 600 or more?
A recent podcast we talked about something. I don't remember. We were talking about winging ourselves off of something, right?
Hey, we talked about something once. Remember that
we
thing?
Did.
Yeah. That one thing we
definitely
did?
covered that.
And I was sharing cannabis and caffeine and how I have my rate. So caffeine is 400 or 600 milligrams. So once I start getting around that, where I'm at 400 or 600 milligrams, and I feel like I feel right now, which is I had it just a few hours ago, and I already feel kind of tired.
Yeah.
That's normally my sign that, okay, I've ramped up too much. Time to go the other direction.
Here's the strategy. I'm going to tell you guys, I swear to God, I hacked this. I swear to God.
Karate chop the air.
Right. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm obviously more sensitive than you guys are to caffeine. I've talked about this before, but I found the strategy so that I don't have to go off for 2 weeks at a time to get myself, my sensitivity back up. What I do is I take
ayahuasca.
Yep. Ayahuasca.
That totally works.
It seems to be the answer.
I sprinkle it on my third eye, otherwise known as
it's the well that keeps giving.
The brown eye.
Seems to be the answer for a lot of people these days.
Exactly. No, what I do is I have no caffeine at all. About between 2 to 3 days a week. So 2 to 3 days a week, I have no caffeine at all. And that allows me to use a normal amount on the other days and feel it. So I save the caffeine for the days that I want it, which is my heavy lifting days. That's it. So if you took like 1 or 2 days off a week, you'd be able to just consistently use it all the time. It's because you're using it every day.
Yeah.
I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah, right now one of my favorite times of the day is that first cup of coffee. I know you can relate.
I thought it was the reviews.
I feel for you, brother.
My favorite time of the week.
It's my favorite time of the week. That's my favorite time of the week. My second favorite time of the week is when my coffee's ready.
That morning joe.
There's nothing like waking up to a smell of a good cup of coffee downstairs. I know you know.
Oh yeah.
What if you just smelled it?
I'm not giving it up.
And then poured it down.
Have fun with that.
Just have Katrina brew it.
Justin rubs it all over his body. That's how much he drinks.
Coffee grounds.
He drinks so much coffee.
Sometimes you guys think that I have a beard, but it's just grains
of coffee.
Slap it on me.
Bro, have you ever calculated the amount of caffeine that you have every day?
No, why? I don't do math.
He needs a calculator for it.
Hold on, let's do the math right now. And don't lie. Let's be honest.
He's going to lie.
No.
He's going to lie.
I don't want to reveal my addiction on air. What is this, Ricky Lake?
Yeah, no, be honest. Okay, that's not even hasn't been on air for like a decade, by the way. Yeah. I'm sure you just dated yourself.
Nobody says that anymore.
I reference Lane as Ricky Lake. He's the Ricky Lake of fitness.
Yeah, see, there you go.
What is it, the Phil Donahue
Jenny
show?
Jones? I don't know. I'll throw a different one out.
So hold on a second. Seriously, how much caffeine? Give me a typical current day. So you wake up in the morning, you have an energy drink on the way here.
Well, I have Cup Zero.
He can sit
for one.
What's
Cup Zero is the one that just doesn't count. You just got to get it in as quick as possible.
Wait a second.
You guys don't do that?
You have a Cup Zero?
Yeah, dude. That's like the shitty, home brew that I just don't count. It doesn't do anything other than open my eyelids.
He has a name for it.
yeah, it's Cup Zero, dude. Then I make my way straight to either Pete's or Starbucks. Starbucks, now there's a drive-through that I'm driving my way out so I can get my nitro. And I hit my nitro. That's a grande size. So what's that? 320 ounces?
350 probably.
Is it really that much?
Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe more. So 300, 350.
I don't like this game.
And then, who cares? It's not a big deal. You're fine.
Fine.
You had the Cup Zero, which is probably another 200. So that's already 500, 550.
Now.
And then what'd you do?
Now he starts counting for real.
Now I'm okay, today started, gentlemen. But I want to enhance this day. And so I get into the studio and then I'm I feel great. I'm going to get some water, I'm going to kind of balance it out. Oh, yeah, we have nitro on tap.
Oh, my God.
And so I'll go do a quarter full of, I'll fill that up.
Yeah.
And then I'll have a little pill of theanine.
Okay, good. That's good.
With it.
That's
and
good.
Then, and then I'm on to my Organifi Pure. And I might have one more cup, actually, as the day progresses, depending on the day.
Now, can we count the coffee that you drink when you leave work, or are you just counting?
That's the one I just said.
That's the last one?
Yes.
Oh, you're 1,000.
Yeah.
You're 1,000 milligrams.
Okay.
Yeah. You got to lay off because the next step, you know what the next step is?
Heroin.
Yep, cocaine and heroin.
Yeah, I was
it's the gateway to heroin.
Heroin wouldn't do it. I think cocaine might do it.
Yeah. He sprinkles that in some water.
I need an upper.
Dude, speaking of cocaine.
Oh, great. Hey, Skinny Dip's going to love you referring to their almonds as fucking...
Is there more shrimp partying out there? Is that what's happening?
Scratch that commercial.
Their flavor, their dark chocolate mint, could they make it more addicting?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good.
It's my favorite.
But so check this out. So I have the macro comparison right in front of me, right?
Yeah.
15 normal almonds, 104 calories, 9 grams of fat, 3.5 grams of carbohydrates, 3.8 grams of protein. That's just plain naked almonds.
Naked.
Ooh. Nothing.
Sexy.
Skinny dipped almonds, which are way more delicious.
Far from naked.
Way more delicious. Yeah. 150 calories. It's only another 45 calories. 12 grams of fat, 11 grams of carbohydrates, 5 grams of protein. The macros on skinny dipped almonds are amazing.
They did a fantastic job.
It's like, I feel like these are the almonds for competitors, because you know how competitors are always talking about what can I have snack on because I can't have mac or whatever. Skinny dipped almonds.
You know, why you do that asshole voice right there? like I ever talked like that.
Yeah,
I can only have this many calories.
I brought my bag that specifically has a compartment for
Doesn't fit in my macros today.
No,
it sounds a lot like that.
No, but it's another 45 calories for a serving of almonds, and you get chocolate, mint, or peanut butter, or whatever.
Those are my favorite.
Did you see that they have them on American Airlines? Did someone send you guys a picture too?
Yeah, I saw it on Instagram. Somebody posted. They're everywhere now.
Wow.
Yeah, everywhere. They have a store locator.
CVS is where I get them all
on the Skinny Dip website. Has a store locator, so you can find where they're at and try them yourself.
You know how I know people love Skinny Dip? You see it all over their face.
Oh, do I have some on me right now?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. That powder though, I mean, it's the
chocolate powder.
It gets everywhere.
It's good though.
Speaking of our favorite brands, we are getting ready to head off to one of our favorite brands and companies, Vuori.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, this Friday we will see you soon, SoCal.
I'm gonna go shopping.
Do we have any tickets left? I thought there was a few left. They might be sold out by the time this goes live. You could try mindpublive.com. You could try if you want to come.
There might be like 2 or 3 that are available, and I know that Vuori is. Do they give a discount to the people attending as well?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. By the way, did you see their shorts that they made that were? Let me see the name of them.
Recyclable.
Yeah, no, not that the shorts are
It's made out of recyclable plastic.
Yeah,
we knew that. Yeah.
No, there's 2 types of shorts.
They're bank shorts and they're cruise board shorts.
Yes, and they're made from recycled plastic bottles.
They're recyclable then.
So I guess you're right.
Well, you don't. All right.
So each short.
When you're done, you can take them to the same place.
So check this out. An average pair of the bank shorts or the board shorts, 25 plastic bottles. Justin shorts, 65.
We got 2 sales.
You just
stitch them together.
It's a lot. These are the normal ones.
A lot of material.
Normal plastic bottles. Yeah. Gallon bottles.
Gallon. I take a bodybuilder. You know, they bring those big ass.
Vuori unfortunately has no discount codes for his shorts.
I got to triple up.
Extra glutes. Yeah. No, but that's. And have you felt the fabrics made from recycled plastic?
Their material is off the chain.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
All of it.
Stretchy, breathable, all that stuff.
People are finally getting on board too now. They're blowing up though, man. Every morning I read Morning Brew and Hustle are my 2 like newsletters that I like to read. And it was just like 2 or 3 mornings ago. I saw Vuori was like the main ad in there again, and they were talking about them coming after Lululemon. So they are now like, I mean,
they're being now compared in the same.
Yeah. So it's they're there now, and now a big portion of our audience has got on board and has like bought it and tried it. Once you get a pair, like anything, that's a great piece of clothing. Once you get one pair and you're like, oh shit, this is legit. Yeah. My whole I have one dresser in our spare room that is like almost all converted to Vuori.
Well, so I was in Campbell with Jessica for Cinco de Mayo, and which was crazy. It was crazy over there, by the way. I forgot it was Cinco de Mayo. Sorry, Adam. Anyway, I'm walking around.
Don't mean to offend your people.
Yeah, that was racist. This guy yells at me from across the street. And he's like, "Mind pump!" And so he runs over with his buddies, and they're all big fans. And they're all wearing Vuori, and they wanted to show me. Dude, we got the Vuori. Yeah, we love the shit, bro. Yeah. It's so awesome, or whatever. I was like, this is cool, man. Yeah, people are doing that.
V's out there, yeah,
and then pointing it out
like a gang sign.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally,
dude. Did you guys see the study? Did it? I wonder if it was Enzo or Jackie that shared it, or maybe no one shared it. They share a lot of studies with us in articles. This one was about sunscreen. So there was an FDA study that came out that showed that people who regularly use sunscreens may be absorbing, ready for this, higher than safe levels of active ingredients into their bodies. Now remember, this is based off of...
What kind of active, quote-unquote, ingredients?
Well, so sunscreens will work one of 2 different ways. One, they reflect the UV rays. Mm-hmm. Or 2, which is the more common sunscreens, they absorb the UV rays and disperse them. Those are the chemical-based sunscreens.
That just sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these chemicals have, xenoestrogenic type properties, like almost like these hormone disrupting properties. Mm-hmm. But, they say, if you don't use them that much or whatever, you're not getting that much in your system. What they're finding is people who use a lot of these sunscreens, the levels that they're getting in their blood of these chemicals is higher than what the FDA will even deem as safe. And the FDA standards are not great.
Wow.
Here's the other part of it. The sunscreens, I think Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken, maybe Doug can find this out.
Yeah, they've banned certain sunscreens because of the chemicals, right?
Because the chemicals are fucking with the marine life.
Yeah. I've heard about that.
Yeah, so how crazy is that? So, what's funny? It's like people are putting on sunscreen to prevent skin cancer and sun damage, but we're seeing a rise in other types of cancers because of the lack of vitamin D, because they're not getting the sun.
Jesus.
Or
we can't win.
Potentially other here's the thing.
What do white people like me do, Sal?
You just stay inside your cave.
Yeah.
No, here's what you do. The best thing you could possibly do to prevent skin cancer is to slowly acclimate to the sun, allow your body to adapt and build your own natural ability to block.
What does that mean? Can new regulations help?
That's Hawaii and Key West. They both banned them. Wow, because the chemicals are hazardous to
the coral reef,
the coral reef, and potentially to people as well. How funny is that? See, this is what pisses me off. It's like, oh, there's the chemical right there. Oxybenzone is one of them, which is the most common one. If you have sunscreen at home, look at the back of it. It's probably going to have oxybenzone in it. The sunscreens that I recommend are the ones that are made with zinc oxide or titanium oxide, not the nanoparticularized versions, because then you'll absorb those minerals, but just the normal ones. And yes, they do leave a slight white sheen on the body. But here's what I've noticed with them. Way more effective at preventing sunburn. If I put that on my kids, they go out in the sun all day long. I don't have to reapply. It's just way, way, way better. And it's not the chemicals or whatever.
Just what I wanted is to look more white. On the beach. I do it because, kids I have to.
Kids are like, Casper.
I'm like, man.
The friendly ghost.
Like add insult to injury. You know what I mean?
It's like anything else, dude. Like, imagine if people, actually this happens all the time. If people weren't active and then went to the gym and beat the crap out of themselves, they would show that would cause all kinds of illnesses and problems. Same thing with the sun. I think people just don't ever go outside and they're like, we're going to go to the beach this weekend, or I'm going to do this one outdoor thing and that I never do, and then they get sunburn. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. You got to slowly acclimate yourself to the sun. And of course, there's individual variants in genetics. Like Justin will never, have this sun adaptation process.
I've worked on it
capabilities
before.
like Adam or I.
I know my potential.
How dark do you get? Pretty dark, Adam?
I do. I get really dark. But you know what happened as I've gotten older, and I actually have it because where were we just recently? We were up in where we just come back
Oakland
from?
Hills.
Yes, Oakland Hills, and we were outside that entire time, and I was soaking up the sun. I get these little sun bumps. That now when I was a kid, I could just sit in the sun all day long, no problem, with nothing on me, and I'd be fine. But I will, though, and I don't really burn. I just get darker and darker and darker. The only thing that I get now is I get these little sun bumps if I was in the sun too long. I'll get that, and they're kind of itchy.
Really?
Yeah, I get like either more freckles or negative freckles.
What's a negative freckle?
They disappear? Like white. Like it looks like it's weird. It's like the inverse of it. Yeah, it's not, because it's
just dying skin.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Never
Skin's
got
falling off. Yeah, I get these weird blisters.
So far, I'm fine,
dude. If you guys saw me when I was a kid, I'd go to vacation. My parents would take me to Italy, and when we were in Italy, I mean, there was everything was outside, and it was in the summertime. I'm not even exaggerating, bro. I get like black dark, like super insanely dark. I have that ability. But if I don't acclimate myself to it, I'll burn.
Yeah,
for sure.
I won't. I get these little, but I mean, I'm getting these bumps. I'm definitely getting a reaction from it. You were sharing off air before we got on that you were going to share with us what this new sex act that you and Jessica have been practicing.
We're not practicing.
We're super curious.
Yeah,
about this.
Not at all.
What you've been doing.
Don't lie. What is
we're
it?
not at all.
Apparently with figs.
Yeah, we're not at all practicing.
Inform us.
No, dude. Somebody shared this article with me because I tend to post funny and crazy articles in my Insta story. And the one that someone shared me, it was this sex act that's apparently getting popular in the subculture or whatever, called figging. Figging.
What culture? Like, who's doing this?
I have no idea. Weird people. Like, well, I don't want to say weird people, but I'm sorry, it's kind of strange to me. They take. Here's what they do. You ready for this?
Yeah.
They take a piece of ginger, and they peel the ginger so that's like bare or whatever, and they carve it into the shape of like a butt plug. So you guys know what the shape of a butt plug is? One end is bigger than one end. That way you don't lose it.
Like a wine cork.
This is
Kind of.
already
So it's like,
informational.
and they'll put it up their butt, and then the ginger, because ginger's kind of spicy and hot, it starts to like burn, and they find it as kind of like this. When I was reading the article, these are people who are into the whole like dominatrix and submissive thing.
My ass is burning.
So and they'll get off on. So they'll tie each other up, whatever. Put one of these things in their butt, and then they'll like hit each other and shit. And apparently they like it, but it doesn't. It gets worse.
Sounds awesome.
Some people will put it in their vagina. Some men will put it in their urethra.
Ugh. Why though?
Yeah, I don't know.
Urethra, like that's a no zone.
Yeah. Well, hey man.
I mean, not to mention all the previous entries.
Yeah. No, humans we're such intelligent creatures that we just make everything weird. You know what I'm saying? We got to just go crazy with everything. But you know where the term figging came from?
Yeah. How do you get figging out of ginger?
So figging came from the term, I think it's fwegging, F-E-U-G-G-I-N-G. This was a practice that horse trainers would do where they would take a piece of ginger, put it up the horse's butt because it would make the horse walk real tall and stick their tail up so they looked real proper when they would bring them to competitions. And it became well known and then became illegal to the point where then judges would have to check to see if you were figging or fwegging or whatever. I don't pronounce it right.
Just like sniff in there. How they find out?
Yeah, I don't know. The horse.
Only your fans,
would send that to me.
Are reading shit like this,
dude. This stuff fascinates me. Did you know there's people that are considered ecosexuals?
Yeah, those are the ones that are banging the earth.
Literally.
Yeah.
like humping trees,
like
trees
holes in the ground,
or the dirt, or flowers or plants, and they'll do that, and they get off on having sex with.
I'm pretty sure I humped my bed a few times as a young adolescent. There.
Sure.
Yeah, just because it was there.
Yeah,
you were laying on it.
Well, this is the organic version. Sounds like.
If we're all playing as kids, he falls on his stomach. Get up, Adam. Hold on.
Give me a minute.
Something's happening.
Why is he dragging himself across the grass?
Terrible transition, but you reminded me because you said people sending stuff to you. I feel the need to. I don't know if it's correct, but maybe elaborate a little bit. The talk that you and I had the other day about kratom, I got a long email from a recovering addict that's actually going through this 12-step program, and I believe it was his best friend or somebody very close to him died from an overdose of kratom.
Oh,
really?
Yeah,
I knew it, man.
Wow.
Yeah, and I thought you did a really good job of, as much as I was saying that I wish it was around when I went through my, Vicodin addiction of warning people that you could actually get just as addicted to that. And I made the argument that, well, Jesus, you'd have to take so many in order to do that. Well, it sounds like there's been enough cases where people have done this enough to where somebody who was listening had a friend that did that and just wanted me to share that it's not and he made a good point in the email, and by all means, if you have a extremely addictive personality, I'm not a doctor and I'm not recommending that you go use something like kratom. My point was for someone like myself who recognized the addiction that I was having chemically to it and found that if I would have had something like that, it would have made the process easier for me. I did it on my own. I don't think I have very addictive behaviors. I don't think I struggle with addiction. Anytime I've ever felt that I've been addicted to anything at all, I've been able to wing myself off. But if you are somebody who struggles with addiction and you have a very addictive personality, that absolutely a 12-step program or seeking help is a much better way of going about it than I'm not recommending that you go use kratom. So I just want to make that very clear.
Yeah, it's not the substance that's addictive, or it's the person that gets addicted. So that's why it's important. So if you're in a bad space and you're looking for an escape, kratom is going to be bad for you, just like Vicodin is going to be bad for you. And that was my big issue with it was there are people in the fitness space who are making they're talking about kratom the same way people in the fitness space are talking about SARMs. Like it's all positives, zero negatives. There are no whatever.
Right.
Very irresponsible. And this is what ends up getting things illegal or getting people in trouble. Just be straight up honest. Just talk about it like a real thing. Like, okay, here's what it does. Here's what it doesn't do. Just like the way we talk about cannabis, even though we're all fans, we're very honest with the fact that there's some potential negatives as well.
Yeah, you can still become a loser.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that could be your substance of choice.
Right.
Speaking of substances, as of the recording of this episode, so when this airs, we'll know if Denver is going to decriminalize the use of magic mushrooms.
Wow.
Of psilocybin.
Now, is this going to be, I didn't read the full article, but I did see it come across.
Yeah, just clinical? Or
is that
medicinal?
Okay,
medicinal.
so under the supervision of a psychiatrist, or do you know how it's?
I'm not 100%. I'm not 100%. I think what it is that personal amounts of use are illegal, but not criminalized. So in other words, I think there's past a certain amount you can get in big trouble, but I think a personal amount will become whereas before, if you got caught with a personal amount, a small amount of magic mushrooms, you could face jail time and stuff like that. Now I think it's going to be like a ticket or a warning or something like that. But we need to be more. We need to figure it out.
Now, what
the exacts are?
What is your guys' opinion on that? Are you pro or against?
Totally? Yeah, totally. I'll two reasons. One, morally speaking and philosophically speaking, I think it's absolutely fucking insane that people should be thrown in jail or their money should be forcefully taken, which would be a fine, for doing nothing but hurting themselves. So even if you think that someone's hurting themselves with a substance, it's very strange that you find someone, hey, you over there, sir, hurting yourself. We want to help you by throwing you in jail, making it hard for you to get a job, or by you having to. It's insane to me. It's extremely tyrannical. It doesn't make any sense. Now, if someone on a substance hurts someone else or steals someone's stuff or damages someone's property, totally should be in trouble. But if you're doing something to yourself, that makes no sense. That's the moral argument. The other side of it is we're finding now through studies that there's potentially some incredible applications medicinally for psilocybin, in particular psychotherapy applications. And the scheduling of psilocybin makes it very difficult to use or even study in this particular case. And I feel like we've lost decades of research because of the scheduling of psilocybin.
Post-traumatic stress and like end-of-life care, like these types of like fields. I feel it's exciting news. If we're able to then introduce, this into that therapy and have them have access to it and really benefit, with their patients from that.
Wasn't there just a study in this last year about PTSD and mushrooms?
I think it was
a ridiculous number of people that saw.
Well, no, mushrooms, psilocybin there was a study on end of life therapy. I think PTSD was with MDMA.
Oh, that's right. That was MDMA.
Yeah,
right.
But with PTSD,
I saw one on psilocybin.
Well, there might be. I know there's one for sure on end of life where people. One of the biggest challenges with being terminally ill.
I can't spell.
Is obviously the depression, fear, and anxiety around the fact of knowing that you're going to die soon, and so the prescription of anti-anxiety medications and antidepressant drugs and all these other substances goes through the roof whenever you're terminal, because it's a scary place. I couldn't imagine being in a position knowing I was going to die in a few months or even a year, right? What they did is they took people who were terminal, they had them do a therapy session under psilocybin, and these people came out and it was like a significant improvement in their anxiety and fears around death. Here's my belief.
What do they attribute to that? Yeah, what's the big takeaway?
Becoming okay with, the other side.
Or seeing the beauty in the most simple things.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, I did nothing like looking at some trees or some flowers or some clouds when you're on that shit.
Ultimately present.
Yeah. Well, and where I also think that it helps people believe that their soul or their being will transcend their physical life. So they do this and then they think, oh, you know what? This is just all part of the cycle or whatever. and they become at peace with it. I'm not quite sure because these substances it's kind of murky in terms of how exactly they work, but we do know that they work in a lot of cases.
Now, do you know how much? Because I've yet to experience a full dose of psilocybin. I've been too scared to go full psychedelic on any of this stuff. So I've microdosed things like this before and had nothing but a positive experience, but I haven't gone all the way in the deep end. Do you know what the dosage that they're using for this? Is that mostly microdosing that they're using this, or are they going full psychedelic?
So there's been studies on big doses, but a lot of the studies that are showing great benefits are on lower doses. So, and that's, it's of course, right? What do people do with anything that feels good? We take a shit ton of it. What they're doing in these studies also is they're not giving people psilocybin and then go take this wherever you want to take it on your own. Setting matters a lot.
It's a guided experience.
It is. They're talking to a therapist while they're going through this. They're integrating what they're seeing.
Working through things.
Yes, and they're in a safe environment. Like I couldn't imagine being on a substance like this and doing it like at a rave or doing it at a party. I've heard horror stories of people who I ate magic mushrooms and then I went to this massive, kegger or whatever. It's like, of course, you're it's a scary situation to be in,
right?
To be on those types of things. So I don't know. It's pretty interesting, but anyway.
Yeah, so Denver's going for it, huh?
They are, and here's the thing: keep your eyes open. So you guys know how I own shares of GW Pharmaceutical. That's the company that sells, that's making pharmaceutical drugs off of CBD, which is exploding. The price of the shares right now, as of this podcast, is like 180. I bought them at $9.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pay attention to pharmaceutical companies that will be using psilocybin. If that shit becomes legal, or they get what's called the FDA fast track or whatever, fucking pay attention, because the hype alone, man, will get that shit.
Well, this is good because then the quality's going to go up and all that whole process too. Yeah, once they get their hands on it. It was funny. So my oldest, he got invited to this party, and it was actually right down the street from our house. So it was at this gym that usually it's only open for the campers that live in the area or that they bring in for these special camps. And I guess now you can rent it out. And so one of his friends rented the place out and invited everybody there. And so since it's so close, we're okay, well, we'll just, drive you and drop you off or whatever. He's like, no, Mom, I'm going on my bike. I'm going to wear this helmet and wear this shirt. I'm going to cruise in without you guys. And he's imagining doing this whole hard brake stop, hey guys, I'm here.
That's your oldest?
Yeah. He's at that point now where he wants to be really cool. And this is he's going to make this massive impression at this party. And me and Courtney were just holding back,
dude,
just dying laughing.
I'm telling you, dude, your boy, your oldest cracks me up. He was making my daughter laugh her ass off. He's totally showing off. And we're gonna go do Yosemite. I can't wait to see what he does. And she thinks he's the funniest thing in the world.
Dude, I kept imagining, what does he think? So all of a sudden everybody stops, mid track, whoa, he's here by himself.
Is he gonna wear his tuxedo?
Can you even do that? He's on a bike? He didn't get, what? You're so cool. Yeah. He's the star of the party.
He drops his bike. He just starts walking in. Hey,
that's right.
What's up, everybody? Oh, your parents dropped you off? Yeah. Your parents dropped you? Yeah. I rode.
Loser.
You want to ride? Get on my bike. Let me show you.
I was oh my God, it's so funny to watch.
It's so funny. Dude, yesterday I go to pick up my kids from school, and my son goes, he got out, and I wasn't there in time, so he went to they have this aftercare classroom or whatever they go to.
Yeah.
So I walk in, and because my daughter's doing her Girl Scout thing or whatever. So I walk in to get my son. He didn't see me walk in, right? He's sitting on the couch, and he's got 4 girls around him, obviously all in the same grade or whatever. Yeah. And they're asking him all these. I couldn't hear what was going on. I tried to hear. I was what are they asking? But they're asking him questions, and you could tell they're trying to make him embarrassed. And he's like, you ever see you remember when you were 13?
Oh yeah.
And you were just figuring out how to act around girls. Uh-huh. So you got kind of this trying to be cool, but you can't help but smile because you've like chicks are talking to you.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So you kind of got this look, you know.
Like things are going
Yeah,
well.
and he tries to act cool. He's like, whatever. But he's got this smile on his lips.
Not laugh too hard.
Yeah. So then one of the girls spots me. She's like, "Oh, your dad's here." He's like, "Oh," and he poof slams his computer shut. Walks over. "Let's go." He walks out. I was like, "What are you doing, bro?"
I'm out of here.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? And in my mind, of course, you know what I'm thinking. Oh yeah, he's gonna want to lift.
Yeah.
Now that the girls are talking to him.
Oh yeah.
You just wait,
Get
dude.
them biceps.
I remember the first time a girl noticed that I had some muscle. That was like all the motivation I needed forever.
That's game changer.
You know what I
right
mean?
there.
Like, Sal's got muscles. Say what?
Yeah.
I'm working out
It
again.
reminds me that
I'm gonna live here.
scene in American Beauty when she walks over and she like touches his arm. I like muscles.
Oh, yeah.
Instantly in the garage.
Yeah. That's all we need. That's all we need.
So I was reading my my articles this morning, came across the XFL is coming back again.
No,
dude.
it's not, dude.
Yes, in 2020. It is, and it's supposed to debut 6 days after next year's.
Vince McMahon, is he behind this?
$500 million of his own money.
Wow.
What? He's got too much money. That's what it is.
Was that the He Hate Me?
Yes,
With all those guys?
Yes, yeah. They're trying to make a run back. I can't believe it's coming, dude.
How many times do they have to get their asses kicked?
I don't know. We'll see.
Because this is how many times now has there been a competing?
Well, the minor league idea already failed. Did you see that?
Yeah, the between college and NFL type of what was that? I forget what that was called.
AFL or something.
AAF.
Are they gonna have like different rules or something like that to make it different?
Yeah, they do. There's, I mean,
like spikes on the shoulder.
Well, they highlight all the entertainment of it, which is kind of fun.
So in the article, what they say the difference this time versus last time is they spend a lot of energy around the off the foot field shenanigans and drama,
shit talking. And all
yeah,
that.
more like WWE, where I think they're really trying to make a competitor to the NFL. I mean, I think they're going to be putting more of the effort towards the game.
$500 million, you said?
Yeah.
So you
of
think
his own money?
So you think they're going to spend more time now trying to make it good football?
Yes, to compete.
That's going to be tough.
I mean, I love that there's more options, but yeah, I don't know how it's going to do.
I don't think so. I mean, I think the NFL has just been established for way too long that I can't imagine the amount of run rate I would think that you would need. I mean, it's like the UFC now too, right? It's like too big, too fast, and how do you take something like that down? Unless you have which McMahon does, you know, if you got fuck you money, where you can just throw it at it to where, because that's the only way, right? Is to attract good enough players that are willing to come over, and so you got to pay out. Which, you know, I remember Pride tried to do that with UFC.
See, that's what I was just gonna say. At one point, Pride was doing a good job competing with UFC, but here's why I think they did a good job. Because they had slightly different rules.
Yeah.
So instead of seeing people fight in a cage,
with having steroids.
Yeah. Well, not just that. Instead of seeing people in a cage, you saw people fight in a ring. That changes the fight.
Yeah.
You could stomp on people.
The soccer kicks.
But in the UFC, you could elbow people.
Yeah.
So it was different. I would think that they would do well if they did. Like, let me ask you guys this. You guys are obviously much more privy to football.
Sports.
What are some rules in football that are unpopular?
Well, right now it's
not being able to hit the quarterback.
Yeah, there's a lot of protection rules right now.
Okay. So if they like change some of that or whatever, maybe it would make it more exciting or different because the rules would be a little different enough to where you'd be like, oh, you see
I could see that in general just from, like how the technique of tackling, like they've had to like reduce a lot of like any kind of like collisions. You have to do like a very specific way to where they'll throw a flag because it's too violent or like, you know, you're hitting the head too much. Like they're trying to eliminate a lot of like head involved tackling.
Or what if they change like the downs or something like that to where you have to pass on this down?
I do believe that there are, I don't know. Well, I'd have to look up like they did it last time that there was different rule changes. So I'm sure there'll be some. I mean, what's the point of a competitor if you don't try and offer something better or different?
What if they could put like mics in everybody's helmet so you could literally talk to the players? They
might do things like this. Like to me, I think
that would be cool.
No matter what,
I hope it's more violent.
I think
that personally,
I think the future of all professional sports, and you already see them integrating this. So I know you're not watching any of NBA playoffs or not, but they started doing this almost a decade ago or so. Especially in playoffs, they highlight this like on TNT and stuff where they'll pick one player from the game and he's mic'd the entire time.
Right.
And then they'll, during commercial break, they'll do little clips, like little 30-second clips of him, doing like hyping up the team or talking about plays or whatever like that.
Yeah.
So we've already started to integrate that into sports already. I think that, eventually it'll be full on where you could just follow your favorite player and be able to listen to what he's saying or seeing the entire game.
Yeah,
it's interesting too, because like you think that the numbers like signing out for football have gone way down amongst kids and amongst schools and all that. So, but he's bringing on a whole nother league of football at the same time. It's interesting because I do feel on some level though that like we are drawn to MMA for a reason. We are drawn to boxing for a reason. We are drawn to football for a reason. I just don't see that going anywhere.
The higher the stakes, the more exciting the sport. That's just the bottom line. Like poker, boring as fuck, but poker for $1 million in the pot, exciting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Football is exciting because the stakes are, besides a game, like you fuck up.
It's dangerous.
Exactly.
I mean, there's no denying that.
Dude, you guys see the IFBB's new physique division or whatever?
What?
Wellness, they're calling it.
What?
A wellness division in the IFBB.
Are you serious?
And NPC.
How did I not see this?
100%.
Are you serious?
Positive.
You just got trolled.
What are the
No.
That's
Tell me,
a real thing?
Doug, look up. He'll pull it up right now for
What
you.
are the parameters?
It's going to be healthy looking bodies without defined lines and muscle separation. This is the irony of it.
It's what they wanted bikini and men's physique to originally be.
The irony of this is
They just keep opening more divisions. It's hilarious.
they are, and here's the irony of it. Wellness is not about aesthetics, but yet they're going to get on stage and try and display what wellness looks like.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you didn't.
term.
I wish you would have shared this before we started.
I
the
know.
podcast, 'cause
We
I
would
would've-
talk all about this.
I know. I would love to talk more about this, but I don't know enough about this right now.
No. Yeah,
When did you see this?
There was actually 2 questions under our QA on Instagram.
It's May 4th. This just was announced.
Yeah, that were regarding it. So all I did was read the stuff that our comments that our client, people say.
Wow.
Oh wow, we'll have to read. We'll have to read more up on this and then talk about.
No,
this,
but
this is fascinating.
How crazy though, right? Like they're trying to continue to push towards this.
So without
mainstream marketable.
So without, I think it's more about this. I have no idea yet. So I may come back and recant half of what I'm saying right now. But my guess is exactly the same thing that we saw happen with the men's physique and the bikini division, which was open up a division that is looks less like they're on tons of anabolics. And it did look like that. If you go back to see the very first year of men's physique and the very first year of women's bikini,
look very different.
Oh my God, incredibly soft looking. I mean, you barely saw the abs on the guys and very, very little definition in their arms and shoulders. And then each year, it got crazier and crazier and crazier, and now men's physique looks like classic bodybuilders.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys are crazy big. It's crazy what they're walking around.
Like this is just a farming business for magazines.
That's really what it is.
Supplements.
But what's happening? I mean, it's smart on IFBB. They just keep opening up. They keep making the barrier for entry easier and easier for people to get involved, which is just introducing more people to the bodybuilding culture. But it'll do the same thing again. They'll come in, they'll look probably really soft, and then the winners will look harder and more defined, and that'll continue to drive.
Well, I'm reading about it right now, and they haven't released the specific details of what they're going to look for, but the speculation is that they're going to be looking for an athletic physique without hard lines and hard definition,
which is what they said about men's physique and what they said about bikini when it first came out. They said the same thing. They're not looking for somebody who's super diced up.
So how are you going to judge this? You know what I'm saying? Like, who looks the healthiest on stage?
Yeah, that's
who's the best looking? And it's so anti-wellness. It really is. Wellness is not about aesthetics at all. Aesthetics is the side effect of wellness.
Right.
So to me, it's funny that they're taking a term from a part of the industry that not only has nothing at all to do with bodybuilding and those type of sports, but probably is anti those type of sports.
I think it's their answer to people like us talking about how unhealthy bodybuilding is, right?
Yep.
It's like, okay, well, we'll one up you guys. How about a wellness division?
Yeah, exactly.
We got you.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
This is for wellness.
This is the Love Your Body division.
Yeah.
Here we have John, who's been restricting his food for 12 weeks and terrible
I
relationship
keep waiting
to
for
food.
the husky division. That's what I'm going to say.
Dad bod.
Dad bod division.
It'll be interesting. I mean, what I foresee is the same thing that, like I said, we saw in Men's Physique and Bikini when it'll first come out, and it probably will look like the wellness, or it'll probably
I wonder
look just like what the Men's Physique and Bikini first.
Hold on a second. You're a pro, an IFBB pro. Does that open you up to compete in anything? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you can compete in bodybuilding, classic, physique,
Yeah, anything in any division I want.
and wellness.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
You are kind of
Adam's making a comeback.
Wellnessy these days.
Maybe the Wellness Olympia.
I don't know. If I tell you, if I liked getting up on stage, I would still be doing it.
I know.
I wish I liked that stuff.
How do they pose with like a namaste? You know?
Yeah,
What do they do?
That will be funny.
That's
Little
true,
downward
huh?
dog.
Yeah,
that's
every division has different routines, so it'll be interesting to see what they decide what wellness would be. I mean, I would hope that they were smart. It would incorporate some sort of flexibility or mobility challenge. That would be smart. Like if you're going to say it's a wellness division, and it's because one of the things I think that a majority of them, even the Men's Physique for sure, bodybuilding, very few of them have very good mobility.
Oh.
Most of them are just stiff as a board. Most of them can't squat beyond 90, can't lift their arms above their head. So I definitely think that if you're going to create a wellness division, there should be some sort of a mobility component in there or flexibility component in there. So we'll see.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Today's Squad is brought to you by MAPS Anabolic. If you're looking to maximize your overall muscle and strength, MAPS Anabolic is the perfect place to start. With a full 30-day money-back guarantee, there is absolutely zero risk. So what are you waiting for? Go to mindpumpmedia.com and get started today.
It's the motherfucking quad.
Eagle has landed.
Qui-qua.
First question is from Mini Fig.
Ooh, more fig talk.
Oh my God. That was not planned, by
that
the
was
way.
not
Good job,
planned.
Sal.
Justin, put that one. Never mind.
No, I'm gonna
Are
put that one
more
away.
are more explosive reps or slower tempo reps better for hypertrophy?
Oh, this is kind of a cool question.
Yeah, it is. So first we should explain what they mean between the different types of reps. So obviously explosive, you are lifting the weight quickly with force. So you are really trying to move a weight fast. Slower tempo, obviously what it sounds like. It's a much more controlled tempo with the weight. Now,
There's parameters to that. It's a fast explosive tempo is considered a 1-1-1, and then a hypertrophy would be a 4-2-2.
right. Now, studies will show that explosive reps, now let me finish this whole thing before everybody freaks out. Explosive reps build more muscle. Now, here's the caveat. These are, if you saw these reps being performed, they would look controlled. So this is not like what Adam would just said with the 1-1-1, where someone's taking a light weight and moving it quickly, which is what real explosive movement is supposed to be. That's power. What they're talking about is they'll give test subjects a weight that's heavy for them, and they'll tell them to push it as fast as they can. But because it's heavy, the weight is
doesn't
still
move very fast.
It's not moving very fast, and that does build more muscle. Or at least it activates more muscle fibers. That being said, your body adapts to whatever you do. And I tend to lift this way. I tend to lift heavy, but push as hard as I can.
Well, it's really exerting maximal effort, like in that lift, and that's where you get a lot of benefit, like strength-wise, also hypertrophy-wise, from that kind of a tempo. But it like making sure it's under control is everything. I mean, and that's where the slower tempo, really, that the advantage is definitely in the slower tempo in order to establish proper mechanics and to be able to control that load properly.
Right. And what I was going to say is when I do most of my reps, when I lift, especially my heavy lifts, they're explosive. They don't look like they're explosive because it's heavy, but I am being explosive. But that being said, when I move out of that and I take a lighter weight and do slow and controlled reps, I get muscle growth.
I was just going to say that this is real similar to questions we've answered before, where we talk about, and this is, I like this question because this is an area that I feel passionate about with what we talk about on the show, because there's a lot of people in our space, in our field, that love to quote studies and use this. Well, studies will show that moving the weight more explosively recruits more muscle, therefore you build more muscle, therefore it's better for hypertrophy in a 6-week controlled study in X amount of people, whatever. Now, the reality of it is if you train one of those ways and you've been training that way consistently for quite some time, meaning any time beyond about 4 to 6 weeks, that changing it up and doing the opposite, of whatever one you're doing, that one's going to build a lot of muscle. Mm-hmm. So this is why it's so important to phase your workouts, and it's so important to move in and out of different tempos, different rest periods, different sets, different reps. Like all these things are important to be moving in and out, and all of them can build the most muscle.
That's right.
If we were to compare them all, everybody at starting point 0, then we can refer to these studies and go, oh, okay, yeah, this is true. This is better for hypertrophy. But that all goes out the window when somebody has been following that protocol for months on end and their body's extremely adapted to that and it's not seeing much change anymore. Simply moving to something that may have scored the least on a muscle building study will actually do very well for the body, if that makes sense.
Right. And now here's the other thing. I very rarely recommended that any of my clients try and lift a weight explosively.
Right.
Because most people lack the control, the stability to apply maximal force without their form going out the window. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. 9 out of 10 people that I've trained, maybe even more if that's possible, I would always tell them to lift with good control because they just didn't have the ability to apply. You take anybody, you tell them to squat. Just getting them to squat right is hard. But once they get that down, you say, okay, squat up as fast and hard as you can, even with heavy weight, and you watch what happens to their knees, their hips, their back, and the injury rate goes up through the roof. So for most people listening, unless you're super experienced and super comfortable and with your lifts, always lift with control. The risk versus reward factor ratio isn't great. It's not great. Like, let's say lifting explosively was 5% better, and I'm being generous. I don't even think it's that much. Is it worth the increased risk of injury that comes from lifting explosively? Probably not. If you lift all the time, probably not. Even myself, if I drive explosively too consistently, I notice my form starts to go off a little bit. And then what ends up happening when your form goes off and you combine that with maximal effort? That's a bad combination.
Well, this should be and this is one of the things I did like about NASM. Was I remember NASM, there was I believe it was a 7-step, right? Wasn't it a 7-step progression as far as like where you would?
I don't remember.
Yeah. No, it's a 7-step progression. And the very last thing is explosive power. Like right. That's the pinnacle that you're trying. So most and that's some clients that could take years to get there. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the last things that I'd ever train somebody on. You'd have to be a pretty advanced lifter for me to use techniques like that because the risk versus reward, like you were saying, Sal, their form is more likely to break down and potentially injure themselves.
And then forget getting muscle.
Right. For the little bit of advantage we might be getting to adding a little bit more muscle by trying to be explosive, you're probably risking a lot more than that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, it's another acute variable. Like these are things that we can manipulate along the process of like interrupting what your normal routine is, so we can like prevent it. We can prevent like plateaus inevitably from occurring. So, reps are another one you can manipulate. You can manipulate rest. So, say that we're cutting the rest in between, going from one exercise to the other. And so you're going to get a different benefit from that. So there's just different things like this that you can tweak and modify to then, continue your path of building muscle.
Right. Now here's the key to doing an explosive heavy rep. And this is why it takes so long to get to this point. You have to learn how to get tight, really, really tight with your form. Like if I'm going to do a bench press and I'm working on maximum hypertrophy and strength, and I want to use an explosive type of rep and I'm going heavy, the key to doing it without hurting myself is to get really tight. Tight with my hands, tight with my shoulders, pull the shoulders back, tight with my hips. Everything's locked in position, lower with good control, explode. But I'm within this real narrow, particular and specific range of motion that's safe. Same thing with the squat. Same thing with the deadlift. I can deadlift explosively, but before I do, I get really tight and tense up and maximize my position before I apply that force. Because otherwise, I'll end up hurting myself.
Next question is from Sarah Haney. What would you recommend for someone who's relied on counting macros for a long time to transition to intuitive eating while maintaining a lean physique?
This is a hard transition for a lot of people, especially if you've been counting and tracking your macros for a long time. To go from not knowing what's in your food to learning what's in your food and tracking is a hard step. Very, very difficult, right?
We wrote a guide for this.
Yeah, what we did, we have an intuitive eating guide that talks about some of the strategies to get you to this point. But it's hard to go from not tracking, not knowing what you're doing at all, to all of a sudden tracking, counting. But then what happens is you get into that rhythm. You know it's working for you. You know how to get lean. You know how to eat more to build muscle because you're tracking. But now you're like, okay, I've been doing this for a year, and it's just a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass to always count what I'm eating. It can become a stress in and of itself. I've worked with lots of people where this becomes a stress for them, where they don't want to go out unless they know exactly what's in food and what they're going to eat or whatever. And it becomes very difficult. And moving out of it can be hard because it's like you're taking the training wheels off of the bike. So here's how I recommend doing it. And this is the way I recommend doing any transition. Just do it really slow. The first thing I recommend to people who are who've relied on counting macros for a long period of time is to have 1 or 2 days a week that are intuitive. And what I mean by that is 1 or 2 days a week, do not aim for any kind of a macro number, but still write down the food that you're eating. So still write it down. So you're still tracking it in that sense, but you're not aiming for anything in particular. Now, here's the 2 things that I've seen people do when they do this. Either one, they end up eating the exact same food they ate the day before when they were aiming for macros. So they're like, oh, I'm eating intuitively today. And I look at their food logs and I'm like, you ate the exact same food. So that's kind of not the same thing. Or 2, it becomes a cheat day where it's like, oh shit, I'm off. I'm going to just eat whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
No, the idea is when you're going into this intuitive day, this kind of experiment on yourself, is to try to eat foods that you think will serve you well. That's a very broad category. So what will serve you well? I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out to dinner with my friends. What's going to serve me well? I want to enjoy what I'm eating. So I'm going to order things that I'm going to enjoy eating. That also means I'm not going to binge and make myself uncomfortable because you don't really enjoy that, do you? That's more of a sign of rebelling than it is a sign of enjoying your food. So I'm going to go do that. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're just going to work that day and it's a regular day and you're thinking, you know what? I've been eating a lot of protein for a long period of time. I think my body may do well on a day where I eat mostly vegetables, where I increase my fiber intake and I eat lots of vegetables. So I think that's what I kind of need. And experiment with that. And what you want to do on these intuitive days is pay attention to how you feel. So you can start to see how your body actually responds to different types of foods. And then when you get comfortable with that 1 day a week or 2 days a week, make it 3 days a week, and then make it 4 days a week. And then if you find that it's going off the rails, scale it back, bring it back to 2 days a week. But little by little, you should be able to get yourself to the point where you're off tracking completely and you're eating more intuitively. And what'll end up happening is you'll notice your body doesn't change much in the mirror. You still look pretty lean, you're still pretty fit, and it's this exhilarating feeling of being like, oh shit, I'm not tracking, and I feel good.
Chains.
Exactly.
I would say be patient and be careful of overcorrecting. So one of the things that I would see, and that's really common with somebody who is like the super tracker, right? That tracks all their macros, weighs their food, weighs their body weight, does all this all the time. And then they decide they're going to move into this intuitive eating. And what ends up happening, they're like, okay, I'm not going to track for the day, but I'm going to start, just feeling it out. And they feel it out for a day or two. They get on the scale and they see like the pound go up on the scale or something. And then they freak out and then they overcorrect the other way, jump on the cardio like crazy, cut way back on the calories. And they think they added a pound of fat in one day. And if you're being mindful, like Sal is saying right now, and you're not binging on your intuitive eating day and you're trying to stay relatively close, the likelihood of you putting a whole pound of fat on in a single day is extremely, extremely low. You would have to grossly overconsume to put that much body fat on in one day. More likely, you're holding on to a little bit of water, or you had a little bit more carbohydrates that day. So be careful of the overcorrecting. That's the thing that I see the most from somebody who is addicted to tracking and they're trying to break free of that, is the day that as soon as they start breaking free of that and they see any sort of flux on the scale up or down, they go the other extreme because they're afraid that they way overdid it or way underdid it. So that would be my advice to that person.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny too, what you'll find with the intuitive eating process as you start to move in that direction is as you're starting to pay attention to how you feel around foods, your anxiety around those foods may actually increase a little bit just because you're bringing awareness to it. But that's because you're judging it. So here's a big part of this process that's going to help you. Don't judge what happens on these intuitive days, especially when you first start doing them. When you first start doing them, don't look back at them and be like, oh man, on my intuitive day, I ate a whole bag of chips, or I ate way too low protein. I'm terrible. I'm going right back. Don't judge it. Just look at it, observe it, and then move on and see how you feel. And little by little, you'll get yourself off the chains of macro counting, because macro counting itself can become a terrible stress. I've had people where they cried because I told them to do an intuitive day, and they cried because they almost, and I would look at their menus, like I said, their food logs, and like, it's exactly the same as the other days. You're not going intuitive, you're just doing exactly the same thing, and they cry because they couldn't do it. And so I'd say, okay, let's have an intuitive meal. Let's start with that, and then let's slowly. So take your time, don't judge it. But once you break those chains, it's pretty awesome. And always know that you can go back to counting macros if you become afraid. So that sometimes helps people, knowing that, okay, if I go too off, I can jump back for a little bit.
Next question is from Kyle Howard, 65. We just had a baby, and getting adequate sleep at night is next to impossible. If you had to wake up every 2 to 3 hours and had to run on 6 or fewer hours of sleep at night, how would your training and nutrition change?
This is kind of a cool question because I think about this a lot right now. Yeah, I think a lot about what may come about when Max gets here. Am I going to be burning the candle at both ends? What is my training? I don't want to put on the with the sympathy weight, they say, right? The husband does. So for me, I think that it might be a lot of recuperative type of training or movement. I also why I even got like the rower to, and when I, just so you know, like when I row, it's not a balls to the wall type of deal. Like I can get on there and kind of cruise. It's like a full body walk, is where I'm getting some upper body work and posterior chain work is the way I look at it. And it's way more meditative. So I think that I would probably lean more towards exercise like that. Now, hopefully, I don't have 7 days in the week where I'm blasted and I get no sleep. That could be possible. And if that is, I'll probably listen to my body and be doing a lot of mobility and a lot of recuperative work. Hopefully, I'll have at least a couple days out of the week where I feel like I got a great night's rest. I fed myself really well, and then I can kind of get after it in the gym. But I think that's what you got to do. I mean, I can't wait to hear the advice from these two guys that have already been down this road already. But personally, what I'm mentally preparing myself for, I may not be able to get to the gym, or I may not want to go to the gym and lift crazy weights. It may be more mobility work at my house, maybe more a little bit of rowing, maybe swimming, maybe going for a walk, and maybe just focus on other aspects of health in my life. I'm not going to probably be making great muscle gains during this time.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on point. Yeah. I would say, so something you want to consider is it's a lot harder to get in shape, aesthetically speaking, than it is to stay in shape. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about the extreme, so I'm not talking about super shredded or whatever, but if you're relatively fit and healthy, however much work you needed to do to build all this crazy muscle, to keep it, it's not as hard. So don't worry too much about your body just going, wait. The thing that's going to affect you the worst is the lack of sleep, not necessarily the fact that you're not working out like you used to. I've had clients like this, and what I'll have them do is I'll tell them to lift 1 day a week. Pick the day that you got good sleep, so if you got decent sleep one night, the next day lift 1 day a week, and then the rest of the time, like what Adam was saying, recuperative stuff, walking out outside, getting some sun exposure, stretching, mobility work. Realize that babies do not stay babies and infants forever.
That's really the point. Yeah. I was going to stress. It's just I mean, in terms of like picking a time period to get like at your best, like ultimate like physique and get all these gains, this is not that time. Like you just have to realize that this is a window of time where, you know, your focus is completely different, and there's going to be a lot of compromises that need to be made. But that doesn't mean you need to compromise health. And like Sal's saying, in terms of you're maintaining what kind of muscle mass you already have currently, and you know, where your body fat levels are at. Like there's a way to do that nutritionally, and as well as you know, getting that recuperative movement like Adam's talking about. Like that's, to me, that was what was my saving grace, was just getting out of the house, going on hikes, doing all these things that were very restorative. And also like mentally, because it's being in that environment, like, you know, because it's so reactive, to be proactive and go places, to me was like, it was like therapy. So, that was something that I found a lot of value in, but I still got exercising in. It was a different mentality. It wasn't like I was trying to crush it, in the gym. That just wasn't the time for me to do that.
Yeah. And I would say optimize the sleep that you do get. Mm-hmm. And one of the big mistakes that people make, both because it messes with your sleep, but also because it is a great way to just add unnecessary calories, is what a lot of times people do is when they wake up every 2 or 3 hours, then they'll snack. So like, oh, I'm already up, I'm going to grab a little bit of this to eat or a little bit of that to eat.
Your cravings will go up.
Yeah, that's a big mistake. Eat during daylight hours, and when it's nighttime, even if you wake up in the middle of the night or whatever, don't eat. It's just an easy way to add extra calories.
Next question is from Christian Relo. What balance in your life is most challenging to achieve?
I have a good one for this.
Go.
You know, for most of my fitness career, I used to say that by looking at my physique, you could tell what was going on with my bank account. And that was because I either I was all into my fitness and I was in the best shape of my life, but I was broke as fuck, or I had deep ass pockets and can go do whatever I wanted, but I was in the worst shape of my life. So I've did this for a very, very long time. And a lot of that is much of the lessons that we talk about on this show. I mean, that we've learned. I was an all or nothing person in the past. I wouldn't, if I was not perfect on my diet and my program, and I didn't have an hour to an hour and a half in the gym, then I just didn't do it. It was like, fuck it. Like if I'm not going to do it all the way, I'm not going to do it at all. And I definitely don't live like that anymore. And I think that was not only bad advice or a bad strategy for a very long time. And I didn't see the value like I do today in going for a walk or just coming to the gym. Like today, I'm going to have another day like this where, you know, I'm pretty tired. And I've had a lot of caffeine this morning. I don't feel the greatest. I've trained 3 days already in this week, so I don't feel like I need to get after it. So I'll probably just do some really lightweight squats or lunges and call it a day. Like I never would do that in the past. I've learned to do things like that. And then also like the work-life balance. Like, man, I've always been this bury myself into my work and become tunnel vision about everything else. And what ends up happening is everything else kind of falls to shit, but then I'm really successful in business. And there's just been a lot of things that I've learned to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Compartmentalize.
Thank you, Justin. And be able to go, okay, like this time is for me working on the business. Like I can allow myself from, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Adam, you can bury yourself into it. Grind like crazy. Don't look up from your phone. Do whatever you want to do. But once that 5 p.m. hits, phone goes away and it's no more business talk after that. And the same thing goes for fitness. It's like I can be all about my training, but when it comes to certain times that Katrina and I have for date night, or we've agreed that we're going away for a weekend, like it doesn't matter. Like we're going to go and feed other parts of my soul. It's not always about having to carry Tupperware around or doing shit like that. It's about enjoying the moment with her and having a glass of wine and having a good meal. And so I've changed a lot of those things, but it took me a really long time. I struggled with that stuff. And I really honestly feel like just in the last probably 5 years have I felt like that's really come together for me, and I'm happy, and I'm lucky that I've found a career that allows me to that it helps that I stay in shape and I work out, and that helps promote the business. So, I think that's important. If you have a hard time finding balance in certain aspects of life, it's nice if you can find ways that they speak to each other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For me, and this is something I've struggled with since I was a kid, it's just my use of electronics. I loved TV a lot as a kid, and I would watch a lot of educational stuff, but boy, could I sit in front of a TV for hours and hours on end. And today it's my phone, and it's also the television. It's still a difficult one for me, and I'm much better at it. I'm much more aware, and I create practices around it now. So I'm a lot better than I used to be. But if I didn't, I'm not at the intuitive part. Like, I'm not there yet. Like, I'm not at the part yet where I don't need practices and rules for myself, where I could just, it'll balance itself out. If I eliminate those things, like I had a hard rule that I wouldn't take the phone in the bathroom every time I would go to the bathroom. And it worked great. Like, I'd go to the bathroom. First of all, it's in and out faster. Believe it or not, you're in there longer when you're with your phone, Justin. But the other thing too is you just
that's funny. He's coming from you.
I know, exactly. less of that mindless scrolling or whatever. But once I eliminate that rule, I end up bringing the phone in the bathroom with myself. Same thing with the TV. Like, if I make a rule that I'm not going to watch TV 4 days a week, if I don't have that rule that I make for myself, I find it creeping back in, and it becomes this daily type of thing. So it's that kind of stuff, and I think that's a big challenge.
Well, you just said
for a lot of people.
It's a big challenge.
You just
for all
said
of us.
something I think is so important to hang out there for a minute, is the importance of putting parameters on yourself and knowing that, just like the way we talk about nutrition, some people are not at a place to intuitive eat.
No.
Some people don't have enough education, enough experience, enough time of practicing good habits,
the right state of mind and mental space. You have
right.
to. It takes time to get there.
And there's nothing wrong with admitting that and being like, hey, listen, this is an area that is a challenge for me, and I need to say I agree. I'm the same way too with the tech tools and this stuff. That's why I was alluding to the things that Katrina and I will agree on. Okay, this is night for us. That this is what we do. Like, and if we don't set that on the calendar, or we don't make that a point to do that, then, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, we're good about just intuitively doing it. And then we go right back to old habits. Mm-hmm. So I'm a firm believer in unless you've mastered some of these areas, that you should put some sort of parameters around yourself or set goals for yourself. And these are great, simple goals, as stupid as it may sound, but setting a goal not to take your phone in the restroom is a great step in the right direction.
It sounds silly, but try it.
Yeah. Getting intuitive about it,
Yep.
Yeah, no, I could echo both those things. I was trying to think about like some things that like mainly for creating more balance. I think for me, I sort of had two different lives for a while, where I would work and I would like hang out with my friends, and I would like that was like this separate kind of a person. And then when I get home, I'm like this like ultra like family focused guy. I'm like trying to like make up for not being there, or like wanting to hang out with my friends on the weekends, or not like be involved, and like include like them more in like what I'm doing. And I think that after like the last year or two with just consuming myself with all these like goals and things I wanted to accomplish, but then also like having this motivation of like needing like my own time to hang out with friends and do all these types of things. Like I realized like I need to structure more time to like hang out and like have fun and do things like including my family and making that a priority. And so for me, like that balance at home, I could feel that, and they could feel that, and they could sense that like I was kind of like, yeah, I'm here, but I'm also like, okay, I'm out, I'm gonna go watch this movie, I'm gonna go do this with my friends, I'm gonna do this. Like I was always like something was like kind of leading me out, but I just and I don't know what that is or what that was, but it was just I just decided that no, like I want to like foster like more of a inclusive environment for that, and that's been paying off like substantially to where, you know, we vacation like sometimes a bit more. We just do things on the weekend together. They find their way into my workouts with me. Like, I'm not like, this is my workout, like I have to like get huge and you know, do all this stuff by myself. Like, I'm trying to be more open to allowing you know, like my wife and my kids to like just be around and like be a part of it with me. So
awesome.
That's been a huge thing.
And with that, go to mindpumpfree.com and download our guides. They are absolutely free. You can also find us all on Instagram. You can find Justin at mindpumpjustin. You can find me at mindpumpsal, and you can find Adam at mindpumpadam.
Thank you for listening to Mind Pump. If your goal is to build and shape your body, dramatically improve your health and energy, and maximize your overall performance, check out our discounted RGB Super Bundle at mindpumpmedia.com. The RGB Super Bundle includes MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Performance, and MAPS Aesthetic. 9 months of phased expert exercise programming designed by Sal, Adam, and Justin to systematically transform the way your body looks, feels, and performs. With detailed workout blueprints and over 200 videos, the RGB Super Bundle is like having Sal, Adam, and Justin as your own personal trainers, but at a fraction of the price. The RGB Super Bundle has a full 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it now plus other valuable free resources at mindpumpmedia.com. If you enjoy this show, please share the love by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and by introducing Mind Pump to your friends and family. We thank you for your support, and until next time, this is Mind Pump.